Welcome to HortTube. My name is Jim Putnam. This is the weekly landscape update video that I do from this house in Raleigh, North Carolina, Zone 7B, that I moved into in the early winter or late fall, something like that. There's a playlist on my channel called New House that I'll link up here if you're watching on YouTube, and it has all the videos of the process so far of a new screen porch going on, and exterior siding on the back, and all of the landscaping that's happened back here. It's a complete and total change. I use the drone in a lot of those videos so you can see it happening from up above. Put up a video the other day starting on the front, or just laying out the front and showing you how that's going to look, and a big giant maple came down from out there last week, and that project's about to get underway, and it'll be part of these weekly videos starting next week, actually, because I'm going to go ahead and compost out there and get the mulch that was ground up from that maple put out on the yard so I can get my driveway back. Today, I'm actually just going to walk around and show you some of the plants that have gone in the ground. I've probably missed some. I mean, a lot of these weekly updates I've gone, ooh, look, I planted more plants. So I figured I would bounce through here and show you some of the interesting pieces that I've put in the ground lately, and you can just get an overall feel for how it's looking back here. The mulch that's back here was wood chips from trees that were cut down in the neighborhood. I called a guy one day and got free mulch, and it has this tan look to it. It's not necessarily my favorite, but it was very free. And the mulch for the front yard, same thing. The maple that I took down, I'm using that the wood chips. But I think by this is the first layer of mulch on the ground, and typically, you know, and I've got that compost underneath that, and so this thing is coming back to life. The soil's coming back to life, and it won't take long to chew through this first layer of mulch and build a kind of a humus layer. And so probably by the 1st of August or so, I'll be mulching, probably with double shredded hardwood or triple shredded hardwood mulch, and the color will be different. It'll have a dark appearance on the ground, and the plants will pop a little more at that point with a little bit of a darker mulch. Okay, so let me start. I'm going to start over here on the south of this backyard. It's a tiny lot. This is only 2/10 of an acre, and I'll show you coming around this way. There are a lot of plants back here. They're overcrowded in all likelihood. Some of the annuals and perennials are definitely going to be overcrowded. I've done that on purpose for the first season, just assuming that the annuals, they'll be gone anyway, and that'll give space to the plants to get a little larger next year. So here's the end of the screen porch that's brand new here, and there's a dog door there for Holly to come out of, which she does in fact use. There's some containers here, and these are in a little bit too much shade. They're going to the front yard. The area where that maple was taken down, I'm going to put these in that space along with that Tacoma in that container right there. So these 4 containers are going to the front. I've got some containers right there that are going in a video that are things for shadier spaces. That video will go up pretty soon, and those containers will end up in this spot. Those of you who have been watching for a while will know how far this has actually come. The trees on the back line back there were coming way out. I've cut those way back. This was a metal building that is becoming a greenhouse very, very quickly. And this is the south space over here. It's a little narrow, super narrow part of the yard. There's some ageratums that just went in last week. That one's starting to flower right there. This plant right here is called Gophostigma. I have not shown it. It is similar to a butterfly bush, but has this blue-gray foliage. It's native to South Africa. That'll be an interesting plant this summer. This fence right here, this week I went through and tore out all the invasive vines that were growing in it, and some native. I mean, there was Virginia creeper in there, which is a native, but it was growing in there, looked bad. The fence is being replaced during the summertime. There's a Juliet Claera right there. It'll become a screen for this. You know, my neighbors are super nice over here. Their yard looks good, but this will be a good piece that will get 6 to 8 feet tall eventually. There's a Shindo viburnum that was already here, but half of it was dead. I cut it out in a video earlier this year, and it's recovered super nice. Another screening piece. Cosmos that have been planted here are all starting to pop open. It's been super cold here. We actually had a frost. I didn't get any frost in this backyard, but frost on my truck out at the road, and the Cosmos came through it with no problem. There's a sunshine ligustrum right there. Yes, I need to take tags off of things I forget to do. There's a echinacea right there. They're small that I did from seed. And let's see, those are asters right there. I'll flip you around to this side before I keep going. There's some straw flowers right here, and that shining sensation Weigela. I did a video on it recently. And like I say, these are those containers. I think this David viburnum is starting to bloom here. Yeah, it's got some, just starting to open up a few flowers. Other containers that were in a container planting video I did recently. There's more straw flowers and some New Guinea impatiens that went in right there. I'll swing you back around to here. Here's that jewel box distilium that Buddy Lee's introduction. You know, he did the Encore azaleas. Most of my Encore azaleas look great. You'll see those in a minute. These are those Everillo Carex. I've got a few more of these in the yard. This Loropetalum was actually already here, and it's been pruned recently to get it under control a little bit. Just a little light pruning. I don't prune Loropetalum into balls. I don't want it to look like a boxwood. It looks great when it has an open form like this. So I just went in and, you know, pruned branches without, like I say, not trying to make a formal shape out of it. And there's some Osmanthus fragrans right here on the two ends of those. There's my Encore azaleas out here. I think this is Autumn Lily, which is the white. I've got this Autumn Bonfire in a container right there, and there's an Autumn Fire right there. Autumn Fire is a red, just like Bonfire, but it stays much smaller. There's some, okay, I'm going to skip back here for just a second. Here's that mood ring podocarpus right here. You can see the new foliage on this. If you saw my video for this plant, you can see it comes out pink, and the colors change on the new growth throughout the season. There's a Miss Scarlet Lycium right there that I've got a video coming out on pretty soon. And this is a gold Weigela here. Weigela Aura is that one, and what a beautiful plant that is. I've got that, you know, I'm in zone 7B, almost 8, and I put a Weigela where it's going to get a little bit of afternoon shade. Otherwise, that gold color I think will burn out on it pretty quickly. All my agapanthus are just popping. I've got 2 flower spikes coming on that one on that one right there, and then this one is just full on opening up. I just keep cutting those flower spikes off. A lot of these new agapanthus varieties will keep blooming if you'll keep pruning them. Okay, right here, Cosmos, these are all doubles that I did from seed, and you can see how loaded up with flower buds they are, but several different colors right here. Okay, moving over to this side, I've got some Scabiosa daisies right there. Won't be long before they start blooming. Salvia here to invite some hummingbirds into the garden, and pollinators, dwarf butterfly bush. There's zinnias starting to pop right here, and they're little single stalks right now. When the first flower finishes, I'll come back in here and cut this down, and that'll branch them and make them a little wider. But lots of them are budded up. They're behind the Encore azalea there. There's Veronica with the purple right there. They're looking great. The 3 Encore azaleas in the front are Autumn Sunburst, and they are blooming right now. Been blooming for a while, actually. If you watch my videos, they're all constantly behind me, and they are super, super long bloomed. The variety behind it is the one that's being released next year. It's going to be called Starburst. They'll be available in 2021. But look at the flower on this thing. Isn't that beautiful? Okay. There's some, the 3 white wedding hydrangeas that I put in here, hydrangea paniculatas, flushed out nicely. And there's a golden Oakland holly right there that'll end up getting quite large. Again, this fence across the back's being replaced during the summertime. Here's a variegated hydrangea paniculata right here. Look how striking the variegation is on that one. I've let it get dry a couple times, and so there's a little bit of leaf, a little bit of what looks like burn on the ends of the leaf. If you see that, sometimes if something gets dry for a while, the ends of the leaves will look a little crispy like that. But I'd rather have it on the dry side than be drowning it. I can save it from being dry. There's a native azalea here called Solar Glow that didn't bloom this year, but it will next year. my Deer Dolores hydrangea, starting to get some color on the flowers here. They should, looks like they're going to be blue. My pH is low enough, and there's definitely enough aluminum in the soil to have them be blue back here. Okay, let's head over this way, find something interesting. The soft caress mahonia have just grown like crazy. These were little 1-gallon plants. They've doubled or more in size since they came out, since they woke up this spring. A mountain snow pieris right there, and some various annuals back here. There's some Elysium that I just planted back here. There's some lobelia with the little blue flowers. They'll cover a lot of ground back here during the summertime. There's a hellebore here that's still blooming. There's a big hosta that I transplanted to the back that was in the front yard. I don't know if it's staying there permanently, but that's where it's going to go for now. And let's see, this is a Marvel Mahonia right here. You can see how much growth it's put on already this season. This I can't remember the name of this hosta that I put in here. I think it's Blue Ivory is the name of it. But that thing's super striking. Several rhodeas, and I'm going to collect a lot of these for this space back here. I love that striped one right there, and then I love these rhodeas. They're one of my favorites. And then a cast iron plant right there, and there was another one back up the way that has a spotting on the leaves. What is hold on, It's a Breeze Rose. So many names to remember. It's a Breeze Rose. This is a Southern Living plant collection piece. Look how beautiful that thing is in full flower here. That Florida Sunshine Elysium showing off right there. There's a Camellia japonica here called Early Wonder. And the containers I did in the container planting video are all looking good, despite the fact that it's been super cold since I put them in. And let's see, this is the first plant I put in a video for this yard. That's Camellia right here. I've got potatoes in bags right here, looking fantastic. I got to water them pretty much every day now. They are definitely using some water, but should be forming lots of potatoes in there. There's a dwarf fig here, that little Miss Figgy fig. There's some blueberries going in here at the end of this vegetable garden area. I've had my lettuce and peas covered under here because there are rabbits that come in this backyard, and I'm letting the lettuce bloom right here, and you'll see in either of these weekly update videos or in a separate video me collecting the seed on all these various types of greens. And peas are coming. I picked peas the other day. There's just tons and tons of flowers in there, as you can see. Tomatoes I put in a couple weeks ago. They're not particularly happy. I'm not using these tomato cages right here. These I'm staking the tomatoes with a Florida weave, but I used these tomato cages the other night to prop a cover on top of them for that frost. But despite the fact that it's been super cold, I actually have quite a bit of new growth on these tomatoes already. So I'm happy about that. That one's right there. It has a flower on it. So I'm happy with the fact that the cold doesn't seem to have stunted them so far. And I have a large collection of things that haven't gone in the ground yet. Some of it's destined for the front yard. Some of it's extra vegetable plants. Some of it's vegetable plants that I haven't planted yet. Right there, these leucanthemum are just stunning. And they're just blooming machines right here. There's more cosmos right there. Another sunshine ligustrum went in right there. It was in too much shade for a little while. It'll color back up pretty quickly. Other containers that went in here. This palm is looking great, and it's got new growth coming on it right there in the center. Another camellia that was planted up here near the foundation. So spin back around here. There's that garden, the building that was built. These are the containers. These are shade containers. These hostas I dug up in the front yard are going to go in shade containers, just repurposing plants for containers for the shade. More of these Avarillo carex. There's a little dwarf Loropetalum here, and There's a Miss Lemon Abelia right there, and then another container that was planted. I planted these Dutch iris right here, and they've grown like crazy, and there's a lot of them, but I don't know if I'm going to get any flowers or not, but they have grown quite a bit and continue to grow. One other thing to point out here is the lantana. There's a lantana there, one there, and one right there. They're all starting to bloom, and one other salvia right there, that red salvia. And lots of other annuals and perennials in here. Oh, I'm gonna show you one other thing before I wrap this up. I have a dwarf pittosporum right here that is starting to flower, and the flowers on these are just super, super fragrant. I usually don't see them bloom when they're this small, but that one has decided to. So, and well, no, I lied. One more thing. This Golden Falls red bud is looking great. The only reason this thing hasn't been planted is because I bought it as a bare root tree, and I'm rooting it out in that container. I checked the roots the other day, and it finally does have roots pushing out. So another 2 weeks or so, and that red bud will go in the ground right where it's sitting. And then of course my weeping Japanese maple in a container right there that I brought from the old house. But everything back here is looking pretty good. I thought you might want to just see some of the pieces that maybe I had kind of glossed over really quickly in these weekly updates. In the next few days, you'll see this shade container planting video, and next week you'll see progress in the front yard space. Thanks for watching.